remember the sound, the steady tapping against the hull from the outside. Rhythmic, deliberate. It was impossible, of course. We were drifting in the cold dark between Saturn's moons, where nothing should knock, nothing alive anyway. It started on the 5th rotation. We were a 3-man salvage crew, contracted to sweep through the derelict mining stations that orbit Titan. Technically, we were trespassing. The stations had been shuttered decades ago after the corporate wars flared out, but there were rumors, persistent ones, that some of them weren't as abandoned as the logs claimed. We didn't care. Salvage was salvage. There's no law in those shadows, and they pay for recovered modules and intact machinery. Could buy you a new arm if you lost one on the job, or a new ship if you were lucky. Gale, our pilot, was the quiet type. Never looked anyone in the eye. He had this habit of humming under his breath while flying, something slow and twangy. Only stopped humming when he was nervous. Then there was Ortiz, young, too eager, and always talking. He liked to record audio logs, even when we weren't required to. Said he wanted a record in case something happened. Guess he got his wish. And me? I was the captain. Had been doing backwater salvage for years, enough to know when to walk away. But this job didn't feel right from the start. The station we found had no designation, no beacon, no readable transponder. It just floated there, hooked in a languid orbit beyond the reach of the ring's debris. Black and silent, like a coffin drifting in an endless sea. We boarded on the 6th rotation. Right away, things were off. Inside, the place was pristine. No dust, no mold blooming in the corners, no ice clinging to the walls from compromised oxygen lines. The light still worked, flickering faintly to life, as if stirred from sleep. Not full brightness. No, just enough to cast long shadows at the end of the corridors. I thought you said this place was dead, Ortiz said, eyes wide behind his visor. I said abandoned. Doesn't mean it's dead. We split up, of course. That was our first mistake. Gale went to the engineering sector to check for anything worth extracting. Ortiz started scanning the living quarters for supplies or power cores. I stayed near the command deck, trying to figure out why the place didn't have any broadcast ID. I remember the smell. Stations don't usually have a scent once the air has been cycled out for years. But this one did. Something like burnt cinnamon, or rot trying to wear perfume. It clung to my helmet's filters even when I switched them out later. 2 hours in, Ortiz started acting strange. His voice over comms grew distant, distracted. He stopped responding to direct questions. Then he started murmuring. "She's here," he said. "She never left." I thought maybe his comms were picking up lead from an old loop, maybe playback from the original crew. But when I asked what he meant, he just laughed. "Didn't you hear it?" he said. "The music in the vents." I told him to link back up with me, that we were pulling out. He didn't respond, not for a while. Then we heard him screaming. Gale and I met in the central corridor and followed Ortiz's signal. It led us to the mess hall. Long tables, empty seats, not a single speck of dust. Ortiz stood behind the counter, whispering to the empty space in front of him. He didn't acknowledge us, just kept muttering, staring at something we couldn't see. "She doesn't like it when people leave," he said. "She says we're hers, all of us." I stepped forward. He looked at me then, really looked, and I understood. His eyes were wrong, not clouded, not glowing, just empty. like they'd been scooped out and filled with someone else's gaze. We tried to drag him back to the ship. That's when the lights failed. Pitch dark took the station like a closing hand. Only our suit headlights cut through it, tight beams of clarity in a sea of black. Ortiz screamed again, but not like before. This time it was joy. Ecstatic, high-pitched, almost childlike. "She's coming," he said. "She knows your name." Then he bolted into the ventilation shaft. We didn't chase him, not out of fear. Not yet. No, we didn't follow Ortiz because we both saw it. The shape in the corridor just beyond the flicker of our beams. Something tall, slender, face too long, limbs too many. It didn't move, didn't flinch when the lights passed it. Just faded back into the dark, as if melting into it. We fled, back to the ship, sealed the airlock, ran a containment scan. No life signs, no tracking sensors hit anything. Nothing followed us, but the ship. The knocking began. That night, tap-a-tap-a-tap, just above the bridge. It moved. Night after night, the sound crept across the hull, toward the crew quarters. Always rhythmic, always exactly 3 taps. And Gale stopped humming. He started whispering in his sleep. At first, I assumed he was dreaming, but one night, I recorded him. He was repeating coordinates, ones that led directly back to the station. I erased them, blocked them from the nav. The next day, Gale attacked me, said I was keeping her from him, said she sang to him through the vibrations in the hull, said she promised he could stay forever if he just brought her one more soul. He took the escape pod, didn't set coordinates, just launched himself into the black. That left me alone. I changed course, burned hard toward Earth's orbit. Figured whatever haunted that place couldn't reach me here, but I hear it still. Tap, tap, tap. Not on the hull, on the walls of my apartment. Always around 3 a.m. I don't answer the door anymore. Doesn't matter. Doors don't stop her. I've tried to trace the corporation that built that station. Nothing. No records. No archives. It's like it was scrubbed from existence. I listened to Ortiz's old logs again. In one, he talks about an old legend the miners used to share. Said a woman once died on Titan, sealed in a pressure suit after a decompression accident. They never recovered her body, but the miners claimed her soul clung to the metal, became something else, something that lives through modules and mining systems, feeding off the voices of those who come near. They called her the Widow of the Rings. They say she hates to be alone. She won't let me be. I try to destroy the ship, detonate the remains in a solar dive, but each time I black out before I send the final command. And when I wake, the ship's logs have been altered, reset to direct toward Titan. Something's in my head. I can't sleep. I can't think without her song slipping in between my thoughts. She whispers things about cold stars and endless dark, about belonging. I don't remember the sound of my own voice anymore, only hers. I record this now as a warning to whoever finds this. If you hear tapping in the dark, don't answer. If she speaks to you in the vents, it's already too late.